Is everybody ready?
No.
Okay.
Street mass shooting. Excuse me. I'm Jenny Lee here with senior reporter Tony Poletsky. Any minute now, Mayor Kirk Watson and Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis will hold a news conference in downtown Austin. They plan to give an update about the West 6th Street shooting that killed 3 people early Sunday morning. Right now, we want to warn you, police plan to release video and audio that is graphic.
We want you to keep in mind that APD, the information they are going to be releasing shows real-time footage and 911 calls from Sunday morning showing, frankly, the terror that people were facing as law enforcement and medical response descended on this area. So because of that, you may hear profanity and other language that may be difficult to hear. So in anticipation of that news conference, which is expected to start any minute now, we wanted to come on early to let you know the gravity of this and also just provide an extra caution that, again, you may hear language or see images that you may find disturbing. Of course, Jenny, this is a deeply disturbing thing that happened Sunday morning.
Absolutely. It's still terrorizing the entire community. And even though 3 people died, there are many more still recovering and dealing with their injuries. Tony, you have a better sense of what's being released. How many 911 calls? How many body cam footages?
So, Jenny, just to take a step back, this involved, of course, police using lethal force. And so the information that is about to be released is being released pursuant to a longstanding Austin police policy that within about 10 days of an officer using lethal force, local law enforcement has made a decision that they will release certain images and certain audio from those encounters to help inform the community and show the community this real-time information. So today, Jenny, we are expected, pursuant to that policy and pursuant to how Austin police handle officer-involved shootings, as they call them, police shootings, we will be receiving body camera footage from the officers who took down the gunman. Again, this all happened shortly after 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. In addition to that, we will also see and hear 911 calls from callers who, from the way it has been described to me, you can hear, obviously, again, the horror as this was unfolding. We're talking about hundreds of people, both in nearby businesses as well as on the sidewalk and on the street. And so those 911 calls, from what has been described to me, you can hear in real time the terror that they are experiencing as they are trying to call 911 to get law enforcement to the scene. Jenny, in addition to that, we also likely will see other security video. As we were saying, even in the earliest hours of this investigation, law enforcement was trying to acquire security video so that they could trace the gunman's movements into downtown Austin. Of course, we all know, according to what authorities have already released, that the gunman came to downtown, rolled down a window of a large SUV. This is all according to police and Police Chief Lisa Davis. Rolled down a window and began using a pistol to fire upon people who were outside this establishment called Buford's. Then went and parked that SUV in a parking lot where it has been confirmed he did open fire at that time as well. And then using a rifle, Jenny, returned to the area where he had first opened fire using the rifle. And that is, of course, when Austin Police stepped in. We know from the earliest briefing that was provided by Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis that 3 officers, she said, used lethal force to take down this gunman. Again, all of this happening in very short order, very quickly that morning. But again, one of the things that we just want to continue emphasizing is that the images and the audio and the video that we are about to see and hear, we just want to underscore this, may be very difficult for people to see and hear.
No, absolutely. And also, Police Chief Lisa Davis said earlier this week that officers are talking to, 150 witnesses? get more information and maybe a better timeline of what happened.
That's right, and we are expecting Austin Police to present a timeline and additional information. But Jenny, I do also just want to say that law enforcement, and in particular the FBI, said in the earliest hours after this investigation started that they do believe that it is possible that there was a nexus to terrorism. There has been little information that has been developed and released to the public, at least, in subsequent days. Authorities making those initial comments, we're told, based on a couple of factors. Number one, this gunman apparently was wearing a sweatshirt that said property of Allah. And then number two, Jenny, of course, we also understand from law enforcement sources that the shooter also had some sort of design of the Iranian flag, which of course came within 24 hours of the U.S. action in Iran. And so whether or not, or the extent to which this gunman was drawing upon that, or if that was some sort of motivation, whether or not he operated as a quote-unquote lone wolf terrorist, whether or not he had been indoctrinated in some way, those are questions that we likely will not hear today.
That's disappointing because that's what we're all wondering.
Yeah, and the reason is the FBI is really, we're talking about, obviously, as you can imagine, a multi-pronged investigation. And Jenny, now we're ready to go inside the room to hear from Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis, who I understand has just taken the podium.
On Sunday, APD responded to multiple 911 calls reporting a shooting outside of Buford's at 700 West 6th Street. APD officers, along with the Austin Travis County Emergency Medical Services, arrived on the scene within 57 seconds, located multiple victims who were shot, and immediately began rendering first aid. Putting a map up now of the location. The investigation revealed that a black Cadillac SUV was traveling southbound on Rio Grande Street when it pulled alongside Buford's, and the driver of this vehicle began shooting a semi-automatic handgun into the crowd of people that were standing outside of the bar. Several individuals were struck. The vehicle then continued westbound on West 6th and parked near the intersection of West 6th Street and Wood. The suspect then exited the vehicle armed with an AR-15 rifle. The suspect fired at a pedestrian, striking them, then walked back toward the bar. As additional officers arrived, they were directed by the suspect's location by brave people that were caught in this nightmare, and they worked to move bystanders to safety and establish a secure perimeter. At 2:03, 3 officers located the suspect near the intersection of West 6th and West Avenue. The suspect discharged his firearm at the direction of the officers. The 3 officers discharged their firearms, striking him multiple times. Officers approached the suspect, took him into custody, requested medical assistance. The suspect was later pronounced deceased at the scene. Our suspect is a 53-year-old male. The Austin Police Department has had no contacts with this suspect. His only interaction with law enforcement was in 2022, and that was a check welfare in an outside agency. This call was referenced his mental health. As this investigation has progressed, APD has learned of additional victims. APD is now aware of a total of 19 people that have been struck by gunfire. 3 people, including the suspect, were pronounced deceased at the scene. The 2 deceased victims on scene were identified as a loving daughter and a friend, Savitha Sean, 21 years of age, and a loving son and friend, Ryder Harrington, 19 years of age. These are 2 people that were dearly loved throughout this community, and that is quite clear. Both young individuals with bright futures ahead of them. On Monday, March 2nd, one of the victims, identified as a loving son and friend, George Pedersen, 30 years of age, was pronounced deceased, and he had just moved to Austin 2 weeks prior. At this time, 2 victims remain at local hospitals, with 1 in critical condition. Before we begin showing the material, I want to acknowledge the complexity and the gravity of this scene. This viewing material that you're about to see is difficult to hear, it's difficult to see. We didn't do this for the shock value. This is about being as transparent as we can, and believe me, we had to look through video that was appropriate to release to all of you. But it was important, again, to understand the events that led up to this officer-involved shooting. Any video showing the suspect firing his pistol into the crowd is too graphic to show, and we will not share that publicly. We will begin by listening to 2 911 calls, and as you can imagine, we received numerous calls, 911 calls, which were hard to listen to. And these are the 2 that we're going to be sharing today. This is our second call.
Hi, Buford on 6th Street, there was gunfire. The cops are here, but everybody...
Is anybody with you, Sean?
Yeah, there's nobody shot within me, but I heard like 6 gunshots from inside. Everybody ducked down the bottom floor. It sounded like it was from the... we're just right outside. We're hiding between cars.
Okay.
We're behind you, bro. Over there, right?
You heard that come from inside?
Yeah, there's cops running towards it, but there's more would help out. There were 6 gunshots, and there was 3 more on the street beside Buford, towards the right, looking south. There was about 3 more. I think those are the cops fighting against it. There's also more sirens coming in.
Yes, we have a lot of help on the way, okay? Stay in a safe place. I need to go answer another 911 call, okay?
Go for it. Thank you. We're fine. We're in cars. But answer another call, please.
Yeah, stay
We're all
safe,
safe.
okay?
We're all safe.
All right.
We're all safe. Thank you. It will be shot.
We're now going to listen to radio traffic.
Advising that the shooter vehicle is going to be a Chevy Tahoe. They are saying somebody was shot. George 301 going 23. Units pulled the air. 6 or 7 gunshots. We have director travel. Suspect.
George 301, CF Chevy Tahoe, 0443. I do have one victim. Looks like he possibly shot it. We're right here on the side street. For the male. You got also here about, we probably have about 6 or 8 people that are active in shot.
We're going 23 with the medics at the clear. Bring them in.
George 301 is trying to be a right away.
You are doing it.
That's an officer needs assistance.
We're calling the city officers we can get. We have a lot of people running out. We need to make this the crime scene as soon as we can.
3108 has been started.
Unknown on where the suspect went. All we have is a white SUV.
505 off you command.
RTF 1 is 23. 79, I'm in command. RTF 2, I have command. We're inside here first. We have at least 1 victim. Patient contact.
Responding units, we need you guys to clear 6th Street. We need EMS to have a route of ingress.
George 505, AXP is going to be 6 in Rio.
Right, 302 to responding units, I cannot stress this enough. You guys need to keep 6th Street clear. Shut it down if you have to.
George, just let y'all know you pretty much have the city coming to you. Do you want them to stage at the main and dispatch from there? What do you guys need?
709, there are additional shots being fired.
Shots being fired.
That was to the west. Those shots were on the on West Avenue. You said AR-15 on the west.
6th Street.
Shots fired, 1 down. 6 on west out. Left move. 9 split though. 9 count west.
Move to now, all the streets. That's left.
Now we're going to listen to, or we're going to look at video, and this first video is from a parked vehicle that picked this video up. You can see our suspect come into frame. He has the AR in his hand. And this is a pedestrian that was walking by. Second video is our halo surveillance. That is our high activity location observation. And this is throughout downtown, at least that 6th Street area. We were able to capture this. And the red circle there is going to be, this is after he parked the vehicle and as he's walking eastbound on 6th Street toward the officers. This is what that's going to show. Interact here. The next video will be body-worn camera from Officer 1.
That was more than
Hey, I'm with you. I'm with you. Everybody go! 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 Where is he?
Next video is from Officer 2's body-worn camera. Officer on West Street.
I don't know! Where is it? Where is it? He's on 6th Street! Where is it? Where is it? Push off! Top fire! The suspect is down! Stop moving! Stop moving! Stop! Move! Stop move! I'm on the suspect! Move here now! I'm on the 6th and West!
This concludes the materials that we're going to be showing you today. I want to again recognize the bravery of our officers. You saw that firsthand as they ran into danger to stop this. It is quite clear that they saved multiple lives. And also to the people, the brave people that were around, giving direction on where this guy was. Everybody was looking to identify him and to stop this threat. So I want to thank, again, the officers that engaged him, the officers that responded, that started putting tourniquets and rendering first aid immediately to victims. As you can see, this was a chaotic scene that was overwhelming for many, and it's overwhelming to watch it. I walk into our PIO office and people are in tears and they're listening to these things, and it is hard and it's challenging. This devastation just doesn't affect the community, and my goodness, I don't think any of us can imagine what these families are going through right now, the suffering that they are dealing with, but our hearts are with them. I want to thank the mayor. Thank you for your leadership and city management team, just fantastic, giving us all the resources that we need. Again, this is an investigation that is continuing, still working with our FBI partners. I also want to thank DA Garza for publicly exonerating and publicly acknowledging the heroism of our officers. I want to thank him. And then I want to also make sure that our community is aware of our victim services. We have a fantastic victim service here in APD. We have 52 counselors. We're very fortunate here, but anyone who is having any trauma or any issues or questions about this can call them at 512-974-5037. Also, if anyone has evidence that they would like to send, I know a lot of people captured video and audio. This QR code, if they want to hit that, they can send and upload that information, and that will go to a detective. And again, if you see, the amazing thing is when we look at all of these 911 calls, it's about calling as soon as possible. Anyone who sees something, hears something, please call 911 immediately. Thank you all for coming.
Okay, we'll take 3 questions.
I had a question right here. So I have heard that one of the victims was outside of Buford's waiting for an Uber.
That's right.
Can you tell us generally, without compromising the investigation, where the victims were?
Yeah, I think it is important. These were not all people that were inside the bar. This is, 6th Street is what's great about 6th Street is you have the entertainment areas, and I'm talking from east to west. You have the entertainment, but people come to walk along 6th Street. That's it. And there's restaurants, all of those things. A lot of the people were struck outside of the bar. And one thing about Buford's, which is something that we all appreciate, is a nice patio, and so that's what they have on the side there. And so these were some people that were outside, that were in that back patio, but the majority of the people that were shot were outside that bar.
Can you say more about the welfare check? Did law enforcement consider taking away his firearms after that 2022?
I believe this in 2022. It may have been out of New York that check welfare was there. I think, I don't know that they had enough to do a commitment for him. I think what I'm hearing is they gave him resources to call, that type of thing. So I don't think the check welfare led to any commitment from there.
Do you know anything about his mental state?
I do not.
Okay.
Chief, can you give us an update on anything investigators have found about a potential link to terrorism as a motive here?
I think, again, this investigation is, we're working in tandem with our FBI partners, and certainly as we look at different indicators, we conducted 2 search warrants, and all of those are being, gone through, and you talk about the digital evidence and all the things that we have to do. We are not ready to talk about exactly what that nexus is, but again, from that early on, the scene, calling in the FBI was the right thing to do, and you talk about a scene of that gravity and then the potential for terrorism, that had to be investigated, and it is.
We'll take 1 more question.
You talked about how the way you staffed the 6th Street area led to you guys being able to react quickly. Now that you've seen this success in a horrific situation that had, are you thinking about staffing any other areas of the city differently to make sure that you're able to have a similar response? Or are you already doing it?
Yeah, I think when we look at, and again, Halo being that area where there's so much concentration, and as Austinites, that 6th Street area is that entertainment area, and we get thousands of visitors there on the weekend. And so, believe me, as new chief, when I came here, I thought, my gosh, look at the amount of overtime and the resources that we spend on 6th Street. But this is why. I mean, we have to be prepared, and anytime that you're having a very dense crowd and people are out, we need to be prepared to go, and not just for police, but for medical purposes, all of those. And so this is just, again, to look at the cast, the strike team that we have in conjunction with fire and EMS. That's what responded to these scenes as well, is being able to get there quickly to address these situations. So they will remain, and as we move forward, any crowds that we have, we are a department, again, that practices best practices throughout the country, and people look to us to what we do. Having that group every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're in this room. They have these cameras up on 6th Street. All of this, they're being looked at. So it is something that we do for very large events, so we're ready and we're prepared to go.
Thank y'all.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
And we've been listening to Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis as she gives us more information about what happened last Sunday around closing time, around 2 a.m. outside of Buford's. Tony, we learned that there are now a total of 19 victims. That's up from the previous 17 that they gave us a few days ago.
It is, and of course, the police chief emphasizing that the death toll and the number of victims could have been even greater, but for, as we saw in real time, immediate 911 calls, of course, and then the very fast response from law enforcement getting to the scene and almost immediately identifying the gunman and taking him down.
Right, 57 seconds. That's how long it took first responders, EMS, and officers to respond. We are also learning a little bit more about one of the victims. He was taken off life support earlier this week. George Pedersen, we learned that he just moved to Austin just a couple of weeks ago. It's just profoundly sad at this point. The police chief also said there are 2 victims who remain in local hospitals. I believe, Tony, 1 is in critical condition.
That's right, and according to the latest confirmation from the police chief. And Jenny, I also want to just talk about the absolutely terrifying video that we saw and the 911 calls. Of course, the first 911 call was a little difficult to hear, but you could actively hear the caller screaming for people to get down, to take cover and crying. And of course, we've learned, it's now confirmed, that the gunman actually also opened fire as he was leaving a parking lot on a pedestrian, and just a very graphic image from a car camera in that parking lot that captured him walking with an AR-15,
yes.
which is a new detail as well. Police have said a rifle previously. We now know what type of gun he was using in this attack.
We saw the gunman point at the pedestrian.
Right.
And it's just chilling. I know we gave a warning about how hard it is to watch. It really was hard to watch and listen as the people, like you said, are just terrified and trying to get help. And again, to your point that Chief Lisa Davis said, the number of victims would have been higher if not for the people calling 911, helping direct officers where to go, which we also saw and heard there.
But Jenny, importantly, what we did not hear was any real concrete information on this potential nexus to terrorism. The police chief pointing out that is largely being done, that piece of the investigation largely being done by the FBI, of course. They have a trove of digital information, computers, cell phones, that type of thing, that they are undoubtedly still going through to try to unearth this person's possible motivations. But again, some indication of at least a mental health history as well from by the gunman.
There was at least one check welfare call, not in Texas, but in New York, I believe the chief said. To your point that there's still, the investigation's ongoing. They just conducted 2 search warrants, but they're still asking the public for help. If you have any evidence, they put up a QR code, but you can obviously email them as well and call them with any additional details. They're still taking evidence at this point.
Absolutely. So the investigation is ongoing and, of course, will likely be ongoing for some period of time, a substantial period of time, when you're dealing with a case of this magnitude.
It is huge and massive. All right, and we'll have a complete wrap-up about what Chief Davis said just a few minutes ago coming up later on KVUE News starting at 4 o'clock. Until then, thanks for watching KVUE News. For Tony Poletsky, I'm Jenny Lee.